Hello, this is Aaron Mean of SG Gaming Info, and welcome to my first impressions of Bandai Namco Entertainment's Sword Art Online Hollow Realization. Now, this first impression is based off the first 8 hours of gameplay, and the reason why this is more of a first impression rather than a review is due to the length of the game and, frankly, the number of games that are currently being released. And so, with that said, let's get on with the first impressions. Sword Art Online Hollow Realization is a game based on the light novel, manga, and anime known as Sword Art Online. The main concept of the Sword Art Online franchise is people trapped in a virtual reality MMO. In Sword Art Online Hollow Realization, the plot involves Kirito and his gang beta testing a game known as Sword Art Origin, a reconstruction of Sword Art Online, the VR MMO that trapped and killed thousands of people inside it. So the first real question is, why would Kirito and his friends want to play a game that has a passing resemblance to those that killed their friends? And the answer is basically to make sure nothing bad happens. As you might imagine, as Kirito and his friends start playing Sword Art Origin, they do encounter some mysteries. The first is Kirito receiving a message saying, "I'm back in Ironcrad," and the second being an NPC that isn't functioning properly. Therefore, without much hesitation, Kirito and his gang become friends with the broken female NPC, and go on an adventure to see why she has no name and why all her characteristics are set to null. In the hours that I played, I learned that Kirito was right, and there is something special about the NPC. But by the time this was revealed, my interest in the story had already begun to fade. This was mainly due to the padding of the game's story and seemingly unwillingness to continue at a decent pace. I'm sure it is possible that the story picked up, but the first 8 hours of the game's story bored me. Moving away from the story, let's talk characters. When it comes to characters, the game hopes that you are a fan of the Sword Art Online franchise, as the characters are only given brief introductions, which I presume are supposed to act as refreshers for fans. The characters also make it difficult to determine where in the franchise's lore the game takes place, but the game gets around the problem by stating that it is an original work, so you don't need to question why X character is still alive. In terms of characters, they never struck me as interesting. I'm sure fans of the franchise like them, but even after watching all the episodes of the anime, I still couldn't get around to becoming overly attached to Kirito, who seemed to have every female character fall for him, despite him having a girlfriend who witnesses it all. What struck me as odd was the fact that you could customize and name your own character. This means you could theoretically play the game as not Kirito, which could possibly make many of the conversations seem odd, although having two AIs refer to you as dad is already odd enough. Moving away from the forgettable story and characters, what about gameplay? Well, gameplay goes between interesting and downright creepy. Gameplay is at its best when you navigate the menu screens, as it doesn't bog you down with unnecessary information, as every bit of information you require is easy to find. The affection system is an interesting touch, as partying with characters increases your friendship with them and can lead them to becoming more powerful colleagues in battle. It is nice to see that telling someone they did a good job can lead them to becoming better players. As for the downright creepy, we have private chats, which allow you to have intimate conversations with friends. Private chats involve agreeing or disagreeing with statements and slowly getting closer to their face and smiling. Private chats can get even creepier if you build up enough affection, as you can either hold hands or carry them in your arms back to your in-room and engage in pillow talk. Honestly, private chats make the game seem like a rather odd dating sim. Now, let's talk combat. Combat is the only major bright spot in Sword Art Online Hollow Realization, as the combat offers a nice combination of action combat with the traditional MMO hotbar system. Combat is mainly focused on combos with your weapon of choice and sword skills, and of course, as you level up, you unlock new sword skills and active and passive buffs. The combat setup also allows you to help command the other 3 characters in the party. With a simple push of the L1 button, you can choose from an array of commands that include performing a switch, commanding a skill link chain, or simply telling your teammates good job. During a battle, your party members can also throw out commands, such as ordering a switch that when successfully executed can result in the enemy mob getting stunned. While I found the combat to be interesting, it did get repetitive, as the only way to level up is through combat. Now let's talk about other aspects of the game. The quests, which are mainly gained from a notice board, are made up of kill and gathering quests. The quest rewards are coal, which is the in-game currency, items, and sometimes a small amount of experience. Outside of quests, you can enhance your gear in the hub town. To enhance your gear, you need certain items and coal. But be warned, enhancements don't always work. As I just mentioned, there is a hub town. This town is known as the Town of Beginnings, and it is where you find all the shops and the majority of the story points. Now let's talk issues. While I didn't notice many issues, the one issue that stood out for me was when I sat down in a chair. The game doesn't tell you how to stand up, and you would automatically assume the circle button as it was the button to sit. But the button to stand up is the X button. And I know this is a nitpicky issue, but it did annoy me. Finally, before my conclusion, a brief mention regarding the audio. The audio is Japanese only, with English subtitles. So, in the end, my first impression of Sword Art Online Hollow Realization is, well, hollow. The combat is interesting, but the story and characters are mostly forgettable. In the end, Sword Art Online Hollow Realization will only really appeal to fans of the Sword Art Online franchise. Thank you for watching. Please like, favorite and subscribe. For more gaming information, please visit sggaminginfo.com, and don't forget to like our Facebook page at facebook.com/sggaminginfo, and of course follow us on Twitter at sggaminginfo.